This wealthy dude named Dodge was walking down the street one day when all of a sudden he collapsed on the sidewalk. At the hospital, they diagnosed him with late-stage brain cancer. Even worse, his entire fortune was tied up in an office building that was still under construction. Just like that, he was bankrupt within an hour, facing poverty and death at the same time. But there was one thing Dodge couldn't let go of: his pregnant wife. So he went to an investment firm, trying to sell the building real cheap. After half a day of negotiations, the investor told Dodge he had to play a game. If he wins, he gets $25 million bucks. But if he loses, he's a dead man. Dodge was gonna die anyway, so he decided to take a chance. The next day, the investor met Dodge at a restaurant and explained the rules. Real simple: 5 assassins will be hunting Dodge. If he can survive 24 hours, he wins. Dodge immediately asked when the game starts. The investor checks his watch and says, "Right now." Dodge takes off running, sprinting a couple blocks before jumping on a bus to catch his breath. But he barely sits down before this long-haired dude gets on and sits right next to Dodge, reaching for something in his bag. Dodge tells the driver to stop and takes off, ducking into a crowded mall. He spends all day hiding in plain sight among the shoppers. In the elevator, there's only an older lady with a baby left. Dodge finally steps in, but a guy in a suit blocks the door at the last second, slyly glancing at Dodge. Without a word, Dodge grabs a pen from the lady's purse to use as a weapon. The suited man gets off mid-floor. Dodge keeps riding up, but notices creepy suit is now following him. This guy is definitely an assassin. In a flash, the dude pulls a knife and lunges at Dodge. Dodge takes off running and ducks into a restroom, but the assassin follows him in, kicking open the stall doors one by one. Seeing Dodge cringing in the last stall, the assassin looks disappointed, saying, "The prey is not so clever this time. Disappointing." Dodge quickly kicks the door open and runs out. As the assassin feels the blood trickling down his face, he gets even more fired up. Dodge makes it to the mall lobby. Every hour the game goes on, there will be cash rewards deposited to his phone. But his location will also be revealed for 15 seconds when the tracking phone rings. So Dodge tries to blend into the crowds while watching the clock. He bets the assassin won't strike with so many witnesses around. But suddenly, a man grabs Dodge and presses a knife to his back, forcing him to walk away. The suited assassin from earlier spots his mark being taken by someone else. He trips the leather jacket dude, allowing Dodge to escape again. Dodge runs into a church and hides in the changing room, figuring a sacred place is safe. But the little window opens, and it's the priest trying to make small talk. As they're chatting, Dodge spots a shadowy figure pass by under the curtain. He freaks out and throws the curtain over the guy, then starts wailing on him until the priest pulls Dodge off. Turns out, it was just a random parishioner. While the priest lectures him, Dodge's phone suddenly rings. His location has been given away. Even worse, the priest pulls out an identical tracking phone. He's the real assassin. The priest grabs an axe from in front of the Jesus statue and swings it at Dodge. Dodge blocks it with his cane, but the second blow smashes the locked door. Luckily, the third swing gets the axe stuck, trapping the priest's hand. Dodge breaks the priest's arm and locks him inside the church. The psycho preacher shouts that the others are coming for Dodge and stabs a hammer into his leg, cackling victoriously. Dodge pulls the hammer out and uses the IT to smash the donation box and steal money for bandages. He hobbles to a baseball field and grabs a cap, disguising himself as another hour passes. The suited assassin arrives, but can't spot Dodge blending into the crowd in a baseball uniform. But then the salesman catches him and makes him return the clothes. As they struggle, the assassin spots Dodge again. He takes off running and hides in the trunk of a car, temporarily evading the killer. But then the car drives onto the highway. Dodge remembers the game master said he can't leave town or he forfeits. The assassins will chase him to the ends of the earth. So Dodge makes noise, so the driver discovers him and calls the cops. Dodge grabs the tracker phone and chucks it out the window, as there's another rule that he can't seek help or call the police. Dodge jacks a taxi at a gas station and speeds back into the city. But a motorcycle assassin chases him down, shooting out his tire, then climbing through the shattered window to strangle Dodge with a garrote wire. Dodge slams on the gas, crashing the car into a barrier. The motorcycle assassin gets flung out. It's that psycho priest again. Dodge shows no mercy, smashing a cinder block on the creep's head. Dodge walks to the beach and causes a scene at the ticket counter, slyly snatching a tour boat ticket. Under the guide's instructions, he makes his way to the dining area on the ship, hoping to get some food and regain his strength. But he's barely taken a sip of water when a waitress sneaks up behind him. She's one of the assassins, and not a pushover either. After a few moves, she manages to skewer Dodge through the neck with a meat skewer. At the critical moment, Dodge shoves her into the flaming barbecue grill. He escapes upstairs to the boat deck. The assassin points to the upcoming bridge, saying it marks the city limits. Cross that, and it's game over. Dodge can only climb onto the roof and inch along the bridge cables. But the nimble assassin follows him out there. She slowly closes in on Dodge. He kicks her off into the water below. Shortly after, Dodge makes it back to shore and finds his old clothes in a donation bin. Just one night to go, but he's knocked out before making it far. He wakes up to find a gang of black dudes pointing guns at him, some lowlifes who noticed his suspicious activity. The $5 million transferred to his phone did not go undetected. They want him to hand over the cash. Dodge notices an hour has passed. The tracker phone is signaling his location again. He warns the gang to let him go, or assassins will arrive to kill them shortly. Of course they don't believe him, and proceed to beat Dodge, demanding the money. Just then, there's a noise at the door and one gangster goes to check, only to get shot by the long-haired assassin from the bus. Chaos ensues as the assassin guns down the gangsters. Dodge runs into the bathroom to hide, but the assassin follows him in. After a quick handshake at gunpoint, the assassin is about to grab his stun gun when Dodge reminds him it's against the rules to use guns. The assassin concedes the point and puts away his pistol. But before he can draw his blade, the gang leader puts a bullet in him, a parting gift for the trouble. Dodge goes to the hospital to refill his pain meds, but the nurse checks his file and says it's just anti-inflammatories. Dodge is confused. He was definitely diagnosed with terminal brain cancer at this very hospital. He demands to see his records, but there's no patient by the name of Dodge at all, or even that doctor. Dodge realizes he's been conned. He calls the game master, who admits Dodge was never sick. His collapse in the street was drug-induced. The bankruptcy was fabricated too. The master wanted Dodge desperate enough to play this deadly game. In fact, Dodge was chosen as a prime target from the start and manipulated into this corner. Even Dodge's pregnant wife is now being held hostage, with the ransom jacked up to $24.5 million. With his wife's life in jeopardy, Dodge can't just sit around waiting to die. He goes to the car factory his dad used to run and turns on the roof sign lights, signaling the assassins. Come and get him if they dare. Soon enough, 3 assassins assemble in front of the factory. They think Dodge is prey, but he's hunting them too now. The first is the leather jacket punk. Dodge manages to disarm him, but the dude grabs him and pummels him mercilessly. Dodge rallies and delivers a crushing blow, then hits the door switch. Heavy metal doors slam down, crushing the assassin's arm. Dodge opens a vat of oil which spills everywhere, then lights it on fire, forcing the assassin to flee the burning factory. Unbeknownst to Dodge, there's also a neutral observer documenting everything as a non-player. From him, Dodge learns his wife is being held captive in Dodge's half-finished investment building. Dodge rushes there and finds her, but the assassin catches up before they can escape. Dodge uses his last bullet, driving off the assassin, and tells his wife to run while he leads the killer away. The assassin chases Dodge to the rooftop. Dodge says it's against the rules to shoot him. The assassin obliges and draws a blade instead. But just as he's about to stab Dodge, the sun comes up. The assassin suddenly grabs Dodge's hand to pull him up, saying the game is over and he won. He politely shakes Dodge's hand and leaves almost like a gentleman. After the harrowing ordeal finally ends, the sinister game master skips town, already scoping out his next prime target. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please mash that like button and subscribe to our channel. This small act might encourage us to produce more video in the future. See ya next time.